Kate Middleton stepped into Windsor Castle on the evening of September 2025, looking every inch the embodiment of royal glamour and deep symbolism. The State Banquet, held in honor of U.S. President Donald Trump and First Lady Melania Trump, marked one more stage in a dramatic return to public life for the Princess of Wales. That return was not only visual, but deeply emotional, steeped in heritage and hope. She wore gold, not just a shade, but full manifesto, a custom gown by Phillipa Lepley in silk crepe overlaid with a full-length evening coat in shimmering gold chantilly lace. On that coat, satin-stitched blooms, French knots, gold cording, each detail crafted by hand, each embroidery a whisper of tradition. Draped across her shoulders, the royal sash and insignia told a story. The Grand Cross of the Royal Victorian Order, the Royal Family Order of King Charles III, and the Order of Elizabeth II. On her ears, earrings that once belonged to Queen Elizabeth II. And crowning the whole, Queen Mary's lover's knot tiara, once the signature jewel of Princess Diana. The tiara itself is a character in this story. Commissioned in 1914 by Queen Mary, built by Gerard from pearls and diamonds already in the royal collection. Passed to Queen Elizabeth II, often worn by Diana, and now a frequent crown in Kate's appearances. It has 19 arches, 28 drop-shaped pearls dangling from those arches, each pearl dancing with light, each gem saturated with history. The lover's knot isn't just a piece of jewelry, it's a bridge between generations. Kate has worn only a handful of different tiaras since marrying Prince William in 2011, but the lover's knot stands out, not just because of its sparkle, but because of what it means. Prior to this banquet, she wore it at the French state visit in July in a red Givenchy by Sarah Burton gown, marking her first tiara appearance in nearly 2 years after stepping back for her cancer diagnosis in early 2024. She made it clear then, and again now, that this isn't just the return of a style icon. It's the return of a person whose presence was deeply missed. On this night, her hair fell softly in waves around her shoulders, a contrast to more traditional royal updos. It gave a more romantic, modern, approachable edge to her formality. Compared to past tiara moments, for instance the 2019 banquet where the lover's knot was paired with sapphire fringe earrings and a white McQueen gown, this was more luminous, more grounded even, perhaps more personal. The setting, too, heightened everything. Windsor Castle St. George's Hall with its ancient stone walls, sweeping vaults, and the weight of history. The banquet table, vast, ornate, formal. Guests dressed in white tie and tailcoats, women in gowns and jewels. The very air thick with ceremony. As protocol dictates, there was a carriage procession, formal greetings, an inspection of the Guard of Honor, speeches, the royal collection tour. It was diplomacy in its most theatrical form. Seated next to President Trump, Kate exchanged smiles. Trump reportedly called her radiant, so healthy, so beautiful. Those aren't idle compliments. They carry weight. After all, she had gone public with her cancer diagnosis in March 2024, had largely stepped back from public appearances, and only in recent months had begun to reemerge. When you see someone you know has been through something very hard, and then see them walk into a room shining, it hits a chord. Her younger brother, James Middleton, posted on social media his pride, a message that reminded everyone how deeply family has been part of her journey. Since the diagnosis, the conversations around Kate haven't just been about fashion or protocol. They've been about recovery, strength, public duty, and vulnerability. Critics, fashion observers, social media users all noticed. Words like triumphant, queenly, historic, emotional, moving were repeated over and over. Many commentators said this was one of Kate's strongest look moments, not simply because it was beautiful, but because everything around it made it meaningful. The illness, the return, the tiara, the ties to Diana. Some said she looked stronger, more confident, radiant in a way that transcends mere surface beauty. At the same time, there was discussion about what it means to lean into tradition. The tiara, the royal orders, the jewelry from past monarchs, the inherited heirlooms, all of it signals continuity. In a time when monarchy is often questioned for relevance, Kate's outfit read as an affirmation of history, of legacy, of stability. It was as if, in one single, carefully curated outfit, she affirmed that royal pageantry can still matter, that symbolism still has power. Let's reflect on Diana, because the emotional undercurrent is impossible to ignore. Princess Diana made the lover's knot one of her signature tiaras. Her presence, her style, her tragedy, all lent to it a kind of mythic resonance. Diana never wore it for her wedding. She wore the Spencer tiara then, but across her life, for public engagements, official portraits, the lover's knot became inseparable from her image. By wearing it now, Kate isn't copying. She is paying tribute, honoring legacy, weaving herself into the story. For many, there's a poignancy. Diana would have been proud. Historically, Kate wore the lover's knot for state banquets, diplomatic receptions. She's worn few tiaras overall, 4 major ones, but chooses this one often for her highest visibility moments. It's now her signature piece. Yet, in between, there were long periods of absence from tiara wearing. Much of 2024 was quiet, public-wise, while she underwent treatment, healing, remission. Now the public sees not just a beautiful image, but a narrative. Setback, retreat, regathering, return. It's literary in its arc. She turned up to the French State Banquet in July wearing red, daring color, bold statement, and again tonight in gold, symbolically elevating. Gold is traditional, rich, almost regal in its own right. It signals triumph, warmth, light. Prince William was by her side, wearing traditional evening tailcoat and court dress with medals and sashes. Together, they represented the continuity of the institution. Elder generation, King Charles, King Camilla, coming forward with dignity. There are subtle contrasts that give texture. Kate's soft waves versus earlier updos, her satin-embroidered lace versus more structured gowns. All of these suggest a princess who understands her role not only in optics, but in meaning, that her choices are not arbitrary but speak to public sentiment, personal journey, national identity. Many in the public have said that seeing Kate again in full ceremonial regalia felt healing. People who admired Diana feel a connection renewed. Fans of royal style see craftsmanship that honors tradition. Also, many note that her remission announcement long ago carried with it quiet dignity. Her return to state banquet tiara wearing feels like celebration of survival, of duty, of hope. Also to note, the scheduling around this visit included other public engagements. Kate and William welcomed President Trump and the First Lady at Windsor earlier in the day, toured the royal collection, greeted officials, participated in carriage processions. The banquet is the jewel event, but it is embedded in several days of diplomatic exchanges. There have been moments of informal intimacy in the formal. A behind-the-scenes photo release showing Kate and William holding hands, walking together amid the grandeur, reminded people that behind the pomp, there is human connection, support, partnership. The menu, too, was designed with tradition. Silver service, grand dining, wine selections, dessert offerings that nod to earlier royal banquets. The setting of St. George's Hall, the Waterloo table, the centuries-old decorations all amplify how royal state banquets are more than just food. They are theater, ritual, marking alliances, respect, ceremony. There were political undercurrents as well. State visits are never without them. The speeches by King Charles emphasizing the historic relationship between the UK and the US, President Trump speaking of honor and respect, all wrapped in polite diplomacy. The royal family played host, presenting a united front at a moment when international relations are always under sharp public scrutiny. Fashion analysts will long dissect this look, how the gold lace coat was cut, how the satin blooms caught the light, how the arches of the lover's knot framed her face, how the earrings from Queen Elizabeth added sparkle without overshadowing, how her hair and makeup choices balanced soft elegance with the gravity of the event. But beyond fashion, beyond symbolism, what many will remember will be the feeling of someone who has endured, who stepped away for health and came back into the center of attention with strength and grace. The contrast between what was, what she's been through, and what stands ahead. This night reminds us that royalty still has its moments. Moments where costume, tradition, and personal journey align to become something more than just photos in the press. It becomes a story of endurance, of family, of history touching present. And perhaps more than a night of golden gowns or inherited tiaras, this banquet will be remembered as a turning point. The Princess of Wales not just wearing jewels, but carrying memory. Not just resuming duty, but reaffirming identity. Not just stepping out into the light, but shining in it. Make sure to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more celebrity updates just like this.